Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Laurel Leader Call Sports Show. And before I get to our introductions, do want to let our listeners know that there is currently a bomb threat at Laurel High School, and there was another one called into Laurel Christian Elementary School. Laurel High School still had students and faculty present. They are on lockdown. I am in communications with the Laurel Police Department, and they will keep us updated. If there's anything breaking or anything new to report while we're doing this show, we'll come back and report it right here. But of course, we're going to get into the sports here. I'm your host, Jack Fairchilds, joined alongside Kevan Lindsey and Josh Guru Nichols. Weird way to, it seems like every week now we have a weird way to come into the show, and just it's been a long couple of weeks for us, guys. No other way to say it.
Yeah, for sure it has. Obviously, if you've been keeping up with the LLC news page, you'll see that there was a bomb threat yesterday at the high school, correct? Heard it was very specific threats again, from what I understood, and just craziness. I know the LPD is still investigating it and they're working hard. It's just really hard to figure out whenever there's so many like phone scammer things and all that out there now. It's really hard to figure that out. So be patient with the LPD. They're doing their best. They're doing what they can do, and I'm sure the same will go for today. They're trying to make sure the students are safe and all that. So
They're going to get you, and you're going to pay the price.
Yeah.
And I hope it's a long time.
Yeah, I hope you're an old man before you ever see freedom again. So right there in agreement. But of course, we're going to have fun on this show. You know, that's the whole point. We try to be a distraction, but at least one of us here is running on very little sleep because of all the crazy news. So I'm definitely going to be leaning on these two a lot today because, yeah, I'm very tired. And I'm not gonna pretend I'm not, but like I said, we're monitoring that situation. Before we get to the things, that one thing I know we want to you know, remember two-time NASCAR champion Kyle Busch, who tragically passed away last week. It was pneumonia is what's being reported as
Sepsis.
just sad. I mean, and Kevin, you're out of the three of us, you're the biggest NASCAR fan. I mean, of course, Guru and we're very familiar with Kyle. I mean, how could you not be? Two-time champion, personality like he had. That's somebody that goes beyond people that just follow NASCAR. That's a guy that everybody's heard of, everybody was familiar with. Just shocking when we heard. 41 years old, very young. I mean, Kevin, just talk to us for a second, because again, you're the biggest NASCAR fan in the room.
yeah, this was one that I'll be honest. I've had a couple people now ask me that because I am such a big fan. Like, how does this rank? Where does this rank? Among losing athletes, and honestly, this takes me right back to 2001 when we lost Dale Earnhardt Sr. Still driving. Obviously, it was a different situation. Kyle was not in the car when he passed away. But I mean, this is a guy who's 41 years old, has an 11-year-old son, 4-year-old daughter, wife, and had just won a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race Friday. And I told you, I made a TikTok about it, about how he said you never know when this will be your last one. And he was at Indianapolis doing promotional stuff for the Indianapolis 500 and a new go-kart track that they had there with Mario Andretti the day before. And the next day he's in the simulator. From what we understand, they found him passed out. They got him woke back up, took him to the bathroom, and that's whenever the call came in. I think it was Associated Press got the 911 call about that he was coughing up blood, but he was alert. And then the next thing you know, he's gone. As a NASCAR fan, just surreal. I love to hate Kyle Busch, if that makes sense.
No, it does, because my brother's a bit, and he was the exact same way.
Yeah, you love to hate him. I respect his talent. I made a little bit of a little subject in my column for Saturday about it, so I'm not going to spend too much. But if you miss the pre-race festivities for NASCAR, even if you weren't a fan, if you missed the pre-race, I would say go back and watch that. They did not know Samantha Bush and Braxton and Phoenix, I think it's Lennox. They kind of last minute that they showed up, and they were there whenever they honored Kyle Busch. I teared up. Callie was tearing up. And then Kurt, his brother, who was forced into retirement due to concussions, they had stenciled his number in the grass, and he came and laid 8 white roses on the thing, and it was one of those moments, man, where even if you're not a fan, it would make you emotional, and I just hate it, and hate it for Braxton. He's an up and coming racer, and you just see the stuff of kind of like with Kobe Bryant, where he was so hands on with his daughter, who was aspiring to be a basketball player, and she was really good.
Yeah.
And Braxton, he's a really good dirt track racer. He's only 11 years old, but Kyle had lined it up. He had set his retirement plan that when Braxton turned 15, he was going to go racing trucks, and at 16 they were going to go split a truck because Braxton wouldn't be able to race on the big tracks, and then Braxton would take over at 17, and that was the plan. And you just hate that, and just hate it for him.
Did you see the tribute at the Indy 500?
Yeah.
They put his name up on the signs during the 18th lap. I thought that was, the Indy 500 was my dad's favorite race, so it's one I'll turn on every year. Ended with the closest finish ever. But yeah, I saw that tribute. I did not see the one at the it was the Coca-Cola 600, correct?
Right.
I did not watch that race, but just sad. I mean, it's one of those things, like we said, it transcends sports. I mean, Guru, if there's anything you want to add, I yield to you now.
Just hits close to home.
Yeah, it does. Well, let's get into more positive, because again, enough bomb threats, enough tragedy. Let's hit some stuff. Kevan, we had 2 area schools that were still alive for the state championship in baseball this year. One was successful, the other one not successful, but made a good run at it. So Kevan, kind of tell us what happened at the state championships there in Pearl.
Yeah, so we had 2 Smith County teams, 2 of our outlier teams playing in the state championship game. Miles, of course, is 2A. Taylorsville is 1A. Taylorsville went 3 games. I'll touch on this one first. They went 3 games, and they lost the first game 8-3 against West Union, and then they won game 2 10-8, and then on Saturday they lost contest 2-1. They had a chance to win that game late, and just couldn't quite pull it off. This is when me and Guru talked about. Taylorsville did not have a winning record, but they were still a really good team. We talked about it last week on this show, how Taylorsville just does not schedule pushovers by any means. You really can't look at their record and say, oh, they were just a bad team that just got hot magically. No, they were a good team that just played an onslaught early on. And then, they obviously losing 3, but still a great season for the Tartars. And then you have Mize. This was super impressive to me. Mize wins their first championship since the 2003 season, if I'm not mistaken. Their head coach was actually playing on that team.
Wow, that's cool.
And then his son is playing on the team that they won the state championship with this year. So it was a real full circle moment. Saw that the head coach was really emotional and things like that. And really just glad for him. But they won in 2 games, 3-0, pitch a no-hitter. McAlpin comes out there, pitches a complete game no-hitter, and said he didn't even know it. He had no clue.
That's awesome.
He had no clue until late. And then he's like, as he put it, he said, I've been shoving. I didn't even realize it. And then they shut out game 2, a 2-0 win. I've told y'all this. This was a team that was started like 7th graders and 8th graders, and we're seeing the fruition of that. And I think we could look up in the next couple of years and say, there's a little dynasty forming in Mize just because of the talent that they've got pulled there.
Incredible run for Mize, and great run from Taylorsville. I mean, 3 games, everybody I know was saying before game 3, Taylorsville doesn't have any pitching left. Taylorsville doesn't have any pitch, but it ended up being a 2-1 in game 3. So it sounds like both teams gutted it out. Just unlucky for the Tartars. They weren't able to close this one out, but great. And hats off to Mize. Goo, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, with Mize, I didn't know that about the coach and son. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
And like Kevin said, it wouldn't be shocking 2 to 3 years from now. I mean, we're looking up and they've won multiple state championships. I think the coolest story was Taylorsville. Looking back, they start the year 5-14 overall, and they end up going 12-5 down the stretch, and just fall in a heartbreaking 1-run game for the state title. Winner take all. Hats off to you guys. You have nothing to hang your heads about. I mean, from where you started with the competition you played to get all the way to the final, even falling by 1 run. I mean, you're still champions in our book. I mean, you at least won the South, and you're the only team from the 2026 baseball season that can say that in your classification. So great run there to end the year. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say Taylorsville is going to be a team we're probably talking about again this time next year as well.
I believe it. So, Kevin, I also know that you have gone through and looked at players from our area that made the all-state and all-district team. So kind of tell us what you put together there, Kev.
Yeah, first of all, let's go through real quick and acknowledge our champions, because listen, we had a lot from this area that brought home state championships. Not necessarily in Jones County area, but around the Pine Belt, I'll say. In 7A, we had Petal. They won.
Yep.
Actually, a Taylorsville transfer was the MVP in that game. In 6A, Saltillo, Callie was happy about that one. Yeah, that's where she's from. Do what? Saltillo.
That's Saltillo, right?
Yep.
No, that's how she likes it said. Right?
Obviously, in 5A, Summerall won. They done what we thought they would do. In 4A, Mooresville, they took home the title. 3A, PCS, they win. They come right over to the public school side, and they do it. They take care of business. And then obviously 2A with Mize and 1A with West Union. So congrats to all of those teams for going to Pearl and winning there. Mm-hmm. As far as our all-state teams, man, we had a lot of Jones County representatives. In 6A, we had Clay Tolbert. He was first team all-state. We had John Carlos Gomez. He was second team all-state. In 5A, we had from Northeast Jones, we had Asher McBride, first team, and Carter Wigington, second team. Both of those well deserved, in my opinion, especially Asher. I'm very glad that he done that and got first team. South Jones, you had Maddox Strickland, first team, and then Beckett Johnson, second team.
Is Maddox a freshman or a sophomore?
Maddox is a freshman.
Yeah. So
and Beckett's a sophomore.
So Beckett's a freshman.
Beckett is.
Yeah, Beckett was an 8th grade. So 2 freshmen.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, really, really cool there. Just shows you South Jones is a young team, but a very talented team. Mm-hmm. And in 2A, ton of Mize players in this one.
Imagine that.
Yeah, Holder McAlpin, he's the one, first team. He had the no-hitter. You have Trey Myers, first team. Garrison Carroll, he was second team. And Hendricks McGee, he was second team for Mize. And in 1A, you had Jamison Mosley from Stringer, Carter Taylor. He was second team All-State from Stringer, and Seth Wyndham was second team All-State for Stringer. And then you have a bunch of Tartars too. You have Tanner Horn. Make sure I got that right. May have that wrong. Turner Horn. I can't read my own writing. From Taylorsville, Noah Westbrook, great kid, first team. Trey Barnes, second team. And Easton Ford, second team. All great kids. Obviously covering Jasper County in that area. You pretty much seen these kids grow up, and it's cool to be able to see them get some acknowledgement there.
Awesome honors across the board for those kids, and congratulations to every single one of them. Now let's move out of high school for a moment. Let's talk about things that are happening in junior college ranks, where we saw that Pearl River Community College won the softball national championship. Incredible season that Kevin, I know that there are a couple of local players on that team, so happy to see them be able to go out as be a champion. I'm not assuming that this is their last year, but again, happy to see some of our success for some of our local players. So congratulations to the to the Lady Wildcats in that championship, Kev.
Congrats to Jones too. I mean, they pushed
They did.
through, and definitely want to acknowledge them. I think it was, I can't remember how many consecutive seasons for Jones softball now that they've had like 50 win seasons.
It's crazy.
Just unreal. I mean, it just shows you how good of a program Jones is, especially on the softball side. And I know that Jones college baseball had been down for a little bit, and it's nice to see them back up there competing where they should be. Just really good. We had a ton of players, local players on those two Jones teams. So kudos to them for making it there, and that's just an accomplishment in itself. PRCC winning the softball national championship. You have JC Holyfield from Stringer, who I've told y'all this. All she does is win. Like everywhere she goes, she's going to win. She batted .365 this year, had 15 home runs, 58 RBIs, 8 stolen bases. I mean, she went straight from 1A softball to a national championship JUCO team. She had some big hits in those games too, in that World Series run. So kudos to her, and I know she's made Stringer very, very proud.
Absolutely. Guru, I saw you were over there looking up some things, so I know you've got stuff to add to this as well.
Yeah, going back to JUCO, of course, shout out to Pearl River again, and congratulations on the softball national championship. And for Jones, that was the 7th time in the past since 2014 that they've had 50 wins in a season, as the Lady Bobcats finished 4th in the tournament. Just another great season, and I'm sure they'll have plenty coming back next year. And I'm pretty positive Pearl River and Jones will be going right back to Spartanburg. Hopefully next year they won't have the weather issues that they had. What was supposed to be about a 5-day tournament, 4 or 5-day tournament, ended up about 8 days. They had to move games from Spartanburg up to Gardner-Webb University, 45 minutes north of there in North Carolina. So, but then on the baseball side, like Jones, East Central both get bounced. But I mean, just to have the amount of teams in Enid playing in the D2 JUCO World Series from Mississippi was pretty awesome.
And both Jones and East Central have Jones County players on.
Right.
Obviously Jones does, but East Central had gosh, now I'm drawing a blank on the name. Caden Padgett.
Yes,
right there.
Padgett.
So, yep.
Same with Pearl River. They have Jones kids, and they're playing tomorrow at 3:00 in the semifinals out there in Oklahoma. So good luck to the Wildcats there. It goes to show how good the state of Mississippi is across the board in junior college athletics. And going back to the young lady that Kevin mentioned from Stringer, JC Holyfield, it just shows also that it doesn't matter what classification you play in high school. You can still be a great player at the next level, whether that's JUCO or D1, D2, whatever. And I feel like with the season that she had this year, she may get some offers from some mid-tier, or at least some looks right now from some mid-tier D1 softball programs, like a Southeastern Louisiana maybe. I know there's a coach around here that also played at Stringer that has some ties down there, Coach Rayner. So maybe you hook a Holyfield up and get her at least a tryout with the Lady Lions. But that's the one cool thing, and I think you see it mainly, especially on the Class 1A level in a small state like Mississippi. I think in basketball you see it often, but then in baseball and softball, depending on the positions that they play, but those are typically the sports where you can see kids that excel in that small classification and then go on and play at major JUCO programs or end up moving on to, bigger programs, maybe not, Power 4 schools, but I mean, at the end of the day, all these girls and all these dudes on the baseball teams, they're getting at least 2 free years of education for their accomplishments on the athletic fields and courts. So that's a big thing that can't be overlooked as well.
Absolutely. And, you talked about moving on to the next level in softball. I mean, she didn't even have to leave the state when you've got teams like Mississippi State that are playing in the women's softball championship tournament.
Well, and you can't even overlook Ole Miss, who was there a year ago in
Yeah.
Oklahoma City. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's 2 solid programs right there.
Absolutely. So Mississippi State, let's talk about them first, because they knocked off the previously believed unbeatable. I mean, the program that had really been a standard. I know they didn't win it last year, but this Oklahoma program is the program that other teams feared. And
Well, before not winning it last year, they had won 4 consecutive
Yeah.
going into last season. And yeah, you're absolutely right. And then they did, I was watching last Friday, game 1, kind of trying to take a nap before we went to deliver papers, and I had the game on, and we kind of, I was telling my brother the next day, you get kind of in that mode when you're trying to take a nap, and then you get an hour or so in, and then you start waking up, but you kind of,
I know it.
you doze back off, and then you wake up. You don't know if it's been 5 minutes or it's been 20 minutes. And then I kept looking over, and I'd look at the score and then turn back over, and it was 6-2 Oklahoma going into the 6th inning. And then from that point on, State outscored Oklahoma in the next 2 innings, 9-3 to take game 1, which was huge. Of course, they dropped the game on Saturday, but then on Sunday, they did something that hadn't been done to Oklahoma in 7 years, and that's they shut out the Lady Sooners and shut them out on their home field in a 6-0 win that clinched their spot and going to the softball World Series in Oklahoma City. And just hats off to them. They play at 11 o'clock in the morning against Texas Tech, which Texas Tech was the runner-up from last year. They fell 1 run short of winning their first national championship. This is Mississippi State's, just like Ole Miss last year. This is Mississippi State's first year going to the World Series. You also have Texas Tech. They went for the first time last year, and you also have a first-time team this year in Arkansas. So, I mean, I get it. I know there's not a lot of people around here that are hardcore college softball fans, but at least tune in and watch the Lady Bulldogs. I mean, give them a shot. They're a fun team to watch. And if you haven't looked into it, just look up MSU softball broccoli, and then I'll just leave it at that.
I have no clue, so I'm gonna have to look that up myself. Kevin, do you have a clue what that's?
Not a clue.
Kevin, you got anything you want to add on Mississippi State's run there and upset of Oklahoma before we pick tomorrow night's games?
Yeah, just Hail State, baby.
There you go. Well, let's go ahead and pick before we get to the other parts of the show. Let's just go ahead and pick the softball games tomorrow night right now. First up, the first game tomorrow is going to be Mississippi State versus Texas Tech. That game is going to be, I think it's at 11 a.m. Texas Tech's been tested there. Mississippi State's coming off of a huge upset. This is tough for me because I'm one of the ones Guru talked about. I don't really follow college softball that much. So I'm going to be a homer. I'm going to pick, no, because every time I pick State, it jinxes them. So no, give me Texas Tech. I'm going to help State out by picking against them. Give me Texas Tech.
I'm going down the list. I'm going all SEC, MSU, Tennessee, Alabama, Arkansas.
Gotcha. Well, you had 2 SEC teams play.
Yeah, I know. I went in.
Well, if we're going down the list, then I'll go Texas Tech, Texas, UCLA, just because I don't want to pick Alabama, and I'll go Nebraska.
I'm there with you on the Alabama one. Then I'm going Hail State, Tennessee, UCLA, and also Arkansas.
And State fans, I'm rooting for you. I wanted to pick you, but I have bad luck. I jinx you when I pick you. So
He
you
had
don't want me
a
to.
very bad run during football season, so he
It's the Silver Bay curse.
Yeah, so I'm doing you a favor.
little man football.
It's the little man football.
This is where I want to be wrong.
And just of note, this is a double elimination tournament, so these teams will turn around and play Friday, Saturday, And I think the championship series is slated to start Monday, weather permitting out there,
Amen.
as we've seen across the deep south and the southeast in general for the last week plus. Just God, can we get a break?
I mean,
Just
we
a
don't
little bit.
we don't just want break from crazy news stories. We need break from the weather too.
Maybe if the weather would turn nice, maybe it'll turn people nice.
No, I think it'll get worse because it's gonna be hot. Oh goodness. Well, we're gonna pick each regional at the end of the show, but we've got regionals coming back to Hattiesburg, coming back to Starkville this year. Ole Miss is heading out to Lincoln, Nebraska as a 2 seed. So exciting time for the area that we will have 2 of our big 3 hosting regionals this year. I'm planning on going back and doing some coverage at the Hattiesburg regional again this year, my second year in a row to get to do that. It's just exciting for our state whenever, you can get 1 regional, let alone 2 like this. And I mean, anytime the dude gets to be put up on a pedestal during college baseball, I mean, is that not the way it should be?
Yeah, and that's something we talked about a couple of weeks ago on this show. Just we were looking ahead to who might host if all 3 could host. Ole Miss definitely shot themselves in the foot in the first round of the SEC tournament when they lost to the 15th best or second worst team in the conference when they got beat by Missouri.
Long shot was no shot.
After that, it was over. They would have had to go probably at least to the semifinals, if not the finals, to get a host site. But then at the same time, that probably would have knocked state out of hosting. And, neither place is a bad place to host a regional, but there's something different about the dude. And this is coming from a diehard LSU fan. And, I mean, it's outside of going to Omaha for the College World Series, it's probably the best venue in all of college baseball up there in Stark Vegas. And it's just, Hattiesburg, this time of year they become known, or they call themselves Baseburg, and they have a couple of good teams in their regional that they're going to have to watch out for if they're going to be able to get out and make it to the super regionals. No favors done for Ole Miss going up to all the way to Lincoln. Nebraska's going to be a team that wants to stay in state. If they win that regional, they'll host a super regional with a shot to just a couple hour way drive to get to Omaha. And that's something that those boys definitely going to be looking to do. But I tell you, Big Ten baseball's a little bit different than what we'd play down here in the South.
It is, and we'll get to picking. But Kevin, I know you've got thought. You went last year and helped cover the Hattiesburg regional there. Great crowds. I mean, there's nothing you can. I mean, Hattiesburg really embraces when they get a chance to host these regionals. And of course, like we said, can't say enough good things about the dude.
Oh yeah, obviously it's the mecca of college baseball, and I would argue there's some MLB clubs that probably wish they had something like the dude. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, just absolutely cool that we have 2 teams hosting. Wish we could get Ole Miss, but like Guru said, they just shot themselves in the foot. I feel like if you're an Ole Miss fan, you look at this season and say, what if? Because there are so many games throughout this year that you probably could have, should have won, and you just didn't do it, and I'm not going to go down the Bianco train and should they or shouldn't they keep him. I mean, I think he's a heck of a coach. Just sometimes, you miss out.
At least they're still playing.
Yeah. The one thing that
that's true, and with a hint of bitterness.
The one thing that I saw that I thought was really cool about Southern Miss, and I have some Mississippi State fans who give Southern Miss a lot of grief, and whenever I hit them with some facts, they just want to basically get butthurt, and I'm going to throw some out there for you. Do y'all know what Mississippi State's baseball budget is?
I know
their athletic department budget is?
I know it's way higher than Southern's.
Well, their athletic department budget at Mississippi State, and they have come out and said for a fact that they are investing in baseball. That is their premier sport. I mean, it's obviously with O'Connor there now. Their budget is $164.5 million.
Crazy.
Alabama's budget, $235 million. Texas's budget, $332 million. Auburn's budget, $205 million. Southern Miss deals with a budget of $33 million.
And that's spread across all sports.
That's spread across everything. And for them to host regionals, for them to do what they've done on the baseball side, for them to keep players in a world of NIL, they do such a good job of finding players who want to play at Southern Miss.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, you go all the way back to Barry and before Barry and all of that. But I want to kind of highlight it. If you look at this Southern Miss roster, Free State fans that are fans of South Jones and West Jones, you have players littered through that roster.
Yep.
And these kids could go to Mississippi State and Ole Miss, and they're choosing to go to Southern Miss. And I think it's a testament to that school, and it trickles down to it's a testament to our high school coaches about how much they're developing players that are littered through there. So kudos to them. I want to make sure that I pointed that out. And
there's one local player that went to Southern years ago that you would hold against him, though, right?
Yeah, one maybe. One. Not going to hold too much. He did have a performance. It's been 20, 30 years ago, it feels like now, but he had a great performance to deliver on a championship on Championship Sunday. But no, I for real though, I mean, it's just incredible. Shout out to Blake Levine who brought that out about the different budgets.
Yeah, I mean, he does a great job too, by the way. Again, we'll be talking more, and we'll be coming back and telling you who we think is going to win each region here at the end of the show. But I know Kev came up with a great idea, and he wants to go through his top 5 sports moments. I think Guru put together 5. I'm running on so little sleep. I said I will give one before I throw to Kevin. And my top 5 sports moment of the last calendar sports year would be attending my first ever Little Brown Jug game, because I had never seen it before. You guys talked it up. You guys did a great job. Let me know what I was in for, but it still exceeded expectations, and it ended up being a really good game.
Even though it's not really a rivalry game.
No. I mean, it's not like Hattiesburg and Biloxi or something. I mean, definitely not really a rivalry game. But yeah, it was incredible. And if I had to pick one other, it'd be starting this sports show and us having a chance to highlight these kids. So those would be the 2 I could think of. There are others, if I was not sleep deprived, I could maybe come up with, but Kevin, I trust you've got an incredible list for us.
You want to go first, Guru? I feel like I've been talking the whole time. You go first.
Give me your. Let's go. You go 5. I'll give my 5, and we'll work our way up.
Okay. I've got an honorable mention.
Holy crap! I got an honorable mention too. And we have not. Kevin told me that his list was on his desk because I wanted to verify. We're just basically talking what's happened in Jones County or our coverage area. Our coverage area for the 25-26 academic sports calendar year. And he said, yes, you can look at my list. I was like, no, I'm not looking at your list. And I had no idea he had an honorable mention. And
I will say that is 100%
Jack was down there with me the whole time I was working on my list. So
with the only time I wasn't around them, Kevin was downstairs. That's when I left to go follow up on the bomb threat lead.
Yeah. We didn't talk about it. The only thing he came up here was saying that it was going to be a minute because I was up here working on producing the show whenever Guru came up here. So yeah, I've got it's like a little montage of little honorable mentions. It's just really short. First thing is our football magazine. This was my first year working on the football magazine with the Leader Call, and I feel like we brought this magazine to something where it's really, really good. I was super stoked with the photos and the content that we put together. The kids were so great to work with. We had the debacle with West Jones in the rain, but we come back out and got great photos of them. And my favorite was AJ Pugh and just his willingness to do all kind of stuff and stuff that I had to tell him not to do because we thought if he got hurt trying to do it, I would have to report back.
He was very willing to.
But it was great. I absolutely loved it. They're some of my favorite photos that I've taken. Just being able to get to know them. I think me, you, and Guru just talked to him about random stuff like superhero, like what superhero abilities and all that. That was super fun. The next one is the Mason versus Kevan rivalry. The fact that there were actually people that thought that I did not like or do not like Mason Strickland just blows my mind.
But you still want to fight him in a
I
wrestling
still want to fight him in an SWA ring, but no, man, I love Mason to death. In just a couple of
You're
years
supposed
ago.
to live the gimmick, Kevin.
Yeah, and look, just a couple of years ago, I was a South Jones homer who didn't care nothing about West Jones. So it's amazing how that changes in the Free State. Stringer and Raleigh softball. This is the last honorable mention. I had to mention this because I thought it was freaking hilarious. Me and Callie went to the game, and there was it wasn't a fight. I don't even think it was an argument. It was just a check between two girls on third base, and you could hear the crowd kind of ooh because they noticed you got two girls that kind of check one another on third, and one mom from I'm not going to point out which sidelines it was, but one mom goes, "My daughter's the most Christian girl on the team," and like right back to the other side, you have another mom say that she sure didn't act like it and it must have been her genes showing out. And it was just a funny moment where I had to legitimately go behind the concession stand because I started busting out laughing. And it was just so funny to me. And just from that moment on, it was crazy. Both sides were pretty much taunting one another with cheers. It was just crazy, and it just shows how much Smith County and Jasper County, they have a pretty fun rivalry, but man, it can be petty sometimes. I loved it. So your honorable mention,
Well, mine's nowhere near as extensive. It was just
I know.
an honorable mention.
I had time to think of it.
I do like Jack's comment about this show. I think it's been a lot of fun. And hopefully you guys enjoy it and keep enjoying it when we come back after a break for part of the summer. And then also completely agree with Kevin in regards to that baby right there, that putting that together, working with these two co-workers and friends of mine was a heck of a lot of fun. And we're going to try to make, we're going to make this year's edition even better than last year, which was always my goal when I got the blessing of our owner, Jim Sigelski, in 2012 to start the Kickoff magazine. And thankfully, the people that came after me for the 7 years I was gone continued to produce that magazine. And for the most part, we kicked your ass this year. We brought it back to Guru standards, and we're going to continue doing that. If you know, you know. With that being said, my honorable mention was the return of Scott Pearson to the sideline at West Jones High School. And I'm so looking forward to working with him again. Him and I have a special relationship and bond as friends away from the football field. And then when it comes to coverage, and this is something you could ask Murph about, but when Scott retired originally, Murph contacted him about wanting to do a story, and he said, "There's two things I don't cheat on in my life, and that's my wife and my sports writer." And since I'd covered him for a number of years, Murph reached out to me, and I hadn't worked at the paper probably like 3-4 years, and asked if I would do it. And I said I'd be honored to, and so it was a story, I think, in the 2021 edition of the Leader Call that I wrote for his retirement, and that was really cool. And so yeah, that's my honorable mention. Look forward to working with Pearson and all the other high school coaches as well in the next few months, getting ready for football season. Go to your number 5.
But look, before y'all do, I'll rank both of y'all's. His novel of honorable mentions, and your one. I think 5 stars across the board so far.
Yeah. Number 5 for me was Heidelberg's dominance in football this year. While they didn't win the 2A state championship, I think the dominance that they showed throughout the year, going and playing and having to find teams out of state to play because people
Just a
were
bunch of monkey business.
yeah, because people were canceling on them. They went and found a team out of Tennessee, one of the best teams in the nation, to go play, and they gave them heck, man. Persevering through the tragedy that happened on homecoming night,
Yeah.
and everything that happened there. I think it was really something special, and there was a lot of people that talked crap about them leading up to the South
Yeah.
State Championship, and they had their last laugh on their field that night, whether you liked it or not. They did what they had to do. So, yeah, for them, Heidelberg 5.
My number 5 was an actual state champion, and that would be the Raleigh Lions winning the 3A state championship by beating Noxubee 12-6 to claim the 3A title. It was a great run by Big Hig and his boys, the Lions. He's somebody that I didn't know that I had a personal contact with, but thank you. Thank you for being there, Hig.
Absolutely, and I do have a update on the bomb threat situations. We've gotten the all clear at both campuses, all clear. So again, another thank God, another incident of some idiot just causing mischief there. But again, I agree with both of y'all's number 5s. You guys are both on a roll. So Kev,
Yeah, number 4, it's a combo. Northeast Jones girls basketball and West Jones softball. Both of those teams, they had similar situations in the fact that both of those programs had struggled in previous years, and they come back this year and they had absolutely fantastic seasons. West Jones softball tripled their win total. They could end up being the same with Northeast Jones girls. And every time I stepped on the grounds there, both of those were extremely happy for me to be there, and both coaches were so accommodating. And you can tell both coaches, Coach Summerall and Coach Jordan, are dedicated and they want to win. And shout out to those girls because they could have quit after a terrible, terrible year before, and they didn't. They stuck it out. So kudos to them.
And as we keep going here, we keep having different ones. I think I'm going to, in one of the upcoming editions of the Leader Call, we're going to combine this list and we're going to vote and we're going to make this a top 10 and run that as one of our lead stories in an upcoming sports section, because my number 4 is Jones College women's tennis winning a national championship.
Very cool.
And being the very first Mississippi school to do so. It was also awesome because 3 of the top 4 finishers at that tournament in South Carolina, once again, going back to South Carolina, the Palmetto State, were from Mississippi. But just, I mean, the way that they responded to Kevan going to the campus the day they made it back, and were just, I don't know, it felt like from the story you told us, Kev, it was almost like they felt starstruck, them and their head coach, and they just thanked you, again and again. And I think that just says a lot, not only for them as young women and not only for their coach as well, but just for Jones College as a whole. And that, just another notch in the belt of Jones College athletics. I mean, they're
rolling.
I mean, they're rolling almost. And I mean, we could do another feature this summer, maybe on the 25-26 Jones College year in sports, and that would be a good sports front too. But Jones College women tennis national champions, that's my number 4 on the list, Kev.
Yeah, look, you talk about voting on a list. It's going to be tough to pick against either one of y'all. Y'all are both on a roll. So yeah, I'm loving y'all's list so far. So Kev, what you got next for us?
Yeah, number 3 was the Northeast Jones versus South Jones rivalry that we saw throughout the entire year, from the opening game of the football season, week 1. It gave us a classic that I think about a lot, where South Jones wins late in the fourth quarter, right before it becomes a downpour. Like
Yeah.
the rain was chasing us the entire night, and
And we all 3 were there.
Yeah, that was really cool too. That we were all three on the sidelines there. It was on a Thursday night. It seemed like everybody in the county was there.
You're
honestly.
going to get to do it again this year.
Yeah,
Right.
it's gonna be fun.
First game
Yeah.
on turf.
Right.
Yeah.
On the res.
Yeah, it'll be my first time covering a game since I've been at the leader call at the rest too. So
Nice. So then, of course, you had in soccer, Northeast Jones, they got their lick back. They go to a shootout, probably one of the best soccer games I've ever watched. I'll be honest with you. Both teams gave everything. Me and Jack were there. They gave everything they had.
it was incredible.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. Just to get to the South State Championship game. And then in boys basketball, South Jones dominated Northeast Jones in that one. And absolutely just, I mean, they were unreal in that game. That got them to just one game away from Jackson for the Braves. And then, of course, in baseball, the most recently, man, we had a 3-game series that was unreal. We saw everything in that series.
Yep.
You had game 1 that went to South, right? Was it South? Game 1?
I think Northeast won game 1.
That's right.
And South won
Northeast-
2 straight.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and then in game 3, the one that I had to deal with the Badger issue, and I got there late, and you see Beckett Johnson do his coach's best impression, just throw a no-hitter. And
Combined no-hitter with Ian Butler.
yeah, and just a grand slam that puts it away at the end, just unreal. Absolutely unreal. So the Northeast Jones, South Jones rivalry, man, it's a shame that Laurel's not in the same region because it would be, yeah.
Don't get me started on that organization that shall remain nameless because I don't want to go off on another rant. So
So for my number 3, we're going to hit the natatorium and go with the Lady Sea Stangs and head coach Lenny Line, 3-peat and as state champions, back to kind of kick off the sports calendar year in the Free State. To 3-peat on any level in any sport is phenomenal. And just, hats off to that group of, especially the seniors, man, to win 3 state championships your senior, junior, sophomore year. That's got to be an awesome feeling. And, I mean, they got a lot of younger kids coming back this fall, so I wouldn't be surprised if we sit here a year from now and talk about a 4-peat.
Look, I love both of them, but both could be 1 or 2 as well. Because I mean, three seems low for both of those, so it has me really, really excited about which 2 you guys have ranked ahead. I have my suspicions. You both might agree on number 1, but I'm not going to give a prediction. I'm not giving a prediction. No spoiler here. Kevin, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is actually this is our first cross. It was Raleigh winning the 3A state championship.
Oh,
Yeah, being there, I think being there for me was the what made it number 2.
That's fair.
Watching that defensive game, this was it was so old school. It was both teams just running and pounding the ball and just physical all around. It was just such a good game. And then the defensive stand right at the end, Hig was about to bust like 3 blood vessels in his head. Man, it was one of the games where I just wanted to set my camera down and just watch it. And it was a struggle of just wanting to watch it and stay in my lens. And it was just such a good game. And I just love Hig. Man, he's such a good guy and such a good coach. And seeing them win it was special.
so I'm going to, after I say my number 2, it's probably going to be your number 1 because you were there that night too. But, and it wasn't just the state championship game. It was the whole run through the playoffs because I was there for every one of those games. But watching Coach Sherry Cooley and the Laurel Lady Golden Tornadoes win the state championship in basketball this year was just in the story behind Coach Cooley and her continuing battle against breast cancer is just remarkable all the way around. And the dominance that I watched in 4 straight games is something in my decade plus of covering high school sports, I cannot remember a team like that in any sport. Because I mean, from the first game, I mean, it was against East Central, and I mean, they scored more points in the first like 6 minutes of the game than East Central scored the entire night. And every single Lady Tornado played at least 5 minutes in that game. And you have Khalees Walker, who was the 5A girls player of the year. She was the MVP of the Class 5A state championship tournament, and deservingly so. And she's going to be playing in Raging Cajun country for University of Louisiana at Lafayette next year. And that was just so much fun to be a part of, and just how humble and I don't know what the other word I'm looking for, but just the demeanor of Coach Cooley and the way, for the whole season, and especially once it came out and we found out about it, and I wrote a story about it, and it became popular local news, but it was never about her, and it's never been about her. It's about that team, that group of girls, and her assistant coaches, and the administration, the faculty, everybody at Laurel High School that, has and continues to stand behind one of the true legends of girls basketball head coaches in the Magnolia State, in my opinion. And just shout out to you, Coach Cooley. You mean the world to me, and keep fighting.
This is the first shock, because I thought you two were going to be I thought that was going to be a mutual agreed upon number one. Think I know it's going to end up being Guru's number one, but I'm excited to hear it. But wow, great choices, Kevin. Am I right about your number one?
Yeah, completely. And I'm not going to spend too much time on it because Guru covered it. I think mine, I wanted to say just the entire season, but there was a moment. There was a moment that stands out to me throughout this entire year. And it was me and Guru and Callie and Kimber and Alyssa were at the state championship game. And it was a minute left before halftime, and it's pouring down rain, and it's thundering outside, and you just hear L-Town, 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 and it's just engulfing, because there were so many fans that they were all around the arena. It was unreal. Like, the hair is standing up on my arm right now. It was just
echoed.
Unreal. And Callie messaged me, and she's like, we're just sitting here like, and these fans are going. It's like a ritual almost. Like, we're sitting up in here, and
this is the end of the first half, not the end of the game.
No,
because that's the dominance that Laurel had already displayed in the first half, and built an unsurmountable a lead that everybody in attendance, everybody knew was not going to be overcome.
Yeah.
And
it was,
they knew they were winning state that night, even with a minute to go in the first half.
Yeah. I mean, it was to the point to where when it was over, and I told y'all this, they celebrated, but I feel like they already knew. Like, they were like, okay, we came here.
This is what we came to do.
Trip. Yeah. It was a business trip. It's all it was, to take care of business and to move on. And then, like, I can't tell y'all how much Coach Cooley, I know they have a great relationship, but for me, on a personal level, I have such anxiety. Believe it or not, I am an introvert. I have such anxiety of where I just can't get out the words that I want to say to a coach. And Coach Cooley was so good, and is so good, about explaining the game of basketball, where she makes your job so much easier. And she just can tell you the details that you may not understand. And that is such a art, because you hear Coach speak so much and just the general things, and it's such an art. when a coach can go into detail. I think the closest one that I know is Trey Sutton. Trey
He's
does
really
that.
good at that.
Trey
yes.
is good at detailing you where you look and you say, well, this is a new question that I have now that can you expand upon? And very few coaches, it's not putting down any other coach, but few coaches do that now. And I love that, and I respect her so much. She made my job so much easier.
I already know, but I'm not going to say it. I'll let you know if I'm correct, and I think I know why you ranked this one over the other, but I want to hear you tell us which one and why.
Well, this is kind of a personal thing. It's nothing against either school. It was like Kevin talked about that moment. This was a moment situation, and that's why I chose it. And because I caught it on video, and because that video went viral. And that would be that September night on the reservation when South Jones scored with about 12 seconds left in the game to pull off what many would assume, as a shocking 38-35 win over their rival West Jones. Colin Flowers to Anquan Jackson happened, 20 feet, 25 feet away from me, and I just happened to have my phone out. The previous play had been ran to the far side of the field away from me, and which is down at the scoreboard end, and I'm standing, if have your back to the scoreboard, I'm standing in the right corner of the end zone, and I'm thinking to myself, well, they just went that way. So when I get the play clock going and I know that they're fixing to take the snap, that Flowers is going to call for the ball, I'm going to hit record. And I did, and the rest was history. He throws a perfect pass to Jackson. He comes in through the front left corner of the end zone. I watched it again before we came up here to do the show, and just the way the fans reacted. And I mean, it's just such a huge rivalry game. And, going back
bigger than Hattiesburg Biloxi?
Probably not.
Gotcha. I didn't think so.
But bigger than Hattiesburg, Gulfport, or Harrison Central.
Okay,
That's like
fair.
2 and
That's
3
fair.
for them. But it's going to be even more fun this year when it's Pearson against Harrington. Coach Casey Harrington will tell you that Coach Pearson's one of his biggest mentors, and that's going to just add a little bit more fuel to the fire, and it's going to be another fun one. But just looking back at my first full year back covering sports at the Leader Call, that was that one particular moment, and the video capture amplifies it. And I mean, it made the whole thing so much fun. And just hearing Kevin's honorable mentions and his 1 through 5 and my 1 through 5, we only had 2 crossovers, so I think we're going to be able to formulate us a nice top 10 list to write a story about here in a few weeks.
And I haven't even added anything other than the 2 I threw out at the beginning, but I can add to it when I have a little bit more sleep. Because listening to you guys talk about it, I thought about the walk off against Brookhaven for Northeast Jones that I covered. That was a moment. It was incredible. I caught it on video the same way you did yours. And it's the reason why that one is elevated is because you were there documenting the moment. The Laurel State Championship, as great as it was a foregone conclusion. You walked into that assuming the ending. You had no assumption of an ending going into that game.
Nope. And I think that's the reason I ended up putting it number 1, along with the video capture, like you mentioned. But, like Kevin said, with the clock winding down at the end of the first half, and they know, and I'm like him, when they got the gold ball to celebrate with, that it was like he said, they treated it as a business trip. They
awesome.
had no intentions of doing anything else but getting that gold ball and taking it home back to L-Town. And they marched to the big house and took care of business. Yeah, they celebrated. They danced a little bit, especially when Kevin had his camera out in front of them. But other than that, they knew it.
Yeah.
And that's you know, that's
Awesome.
why they're one of the best teams in the state this year.
Awesome. Wildcard one is going to be a quick one this time, and it's kind of in the theme. I don't know if we're planning on doing a show through the College World Series or if this will be the last one until a break. You know, we haven't decided yet. We know we're going to take a break at some point and maybe come back once World Cup play starts and we've got a little bit more we can talk about. But wildcard question for each of you guys is, as much fun as this show has been, and we definitely, what would you like to see us do more next year from a video standpoint? And for me personally, it's the idea that really birthed this show, Kevin's idea. I would love to see, especially after last year, doing live videos at some of the soccer games, doing live videos at some of the baseball games. I would love to come up with maybe not every week, maybe we find a couple of matchups and we do a high school game day type thing. Maybe it's only on Facebook where, you know, we just have our phones recorded because that would probably be the easiest thing. But for me personally, that would be so much fun. Watching us battle out who gets put on the headgear each week would be a lot of fun. That's something personally, and I'm not saying that's going to happen next year, people. I'm just speaking from something I would love to see happen. I would love to see in high school football us figure out a way to make a high school football game day type show happen for you guys. Kevin, what would you love to see next year as we continue our sports video content?
Probably similar. Something similar. I have a plan of what I want to do for content.
And Kevin's got a great personal content page too, which this show broadcasts on as well. So, I mean, check out Kevin's creator page on Facebook for sure.
Yeah, I've really been trying to grow that, and of course, obviously working here at the paper, pointing everyone to it. It's just stuff that I find interesting that maybe we don't get to touch on, you know, around here. But I think just growing and having maybe more insight with our coaches this coming fall. I think Coach Pearson would be good. I think all of our coaches are pretty good with that. And more insight with their players too. I think that would be really good, and fan insight, things like that. That's what I really want to focus on. That's probably what I'm going to be taking the break doing, is coming up with a plan on what our content for the 2026-2027 school athletic year will look like.
I like both of those. I think especially the interaction with coaches and players, especially players, would be really good for video content. I mean, you know, it's nothing had to be, but like Kevin spoke about earlier when he was talking about us putting together last year's football magazine, our interaction with the 12 players from the 4 schools was so much fun.
Made us fall in love with every team.
Oh, yeah. And I think being able to expound upon that more. But the number one thing that I want to see us do a live broadcast of is, I don't care which school hosts it, but an SWA event where Kevin and Mason Strickland wrestle, and Jack is the official, and I will use one of their phones and go Facebook Live and give commentary for the entire
I thought
match.
I was the commentator. When did I become the? I
You're
thought you were the official.
You're the official, and I'm the
It's
commentator. So, and this is my wishes. This is my wishes. So I want to see that match happen, and whatever we have to do to help promote it, we will promote it through the newspaper. We'll promote it on this show. You know, maybe let's look in July when everybody's got free time, and let's get this thing rolling.
Kevin, I'm calling it straight down the middle. There'll be no quick count for you.
No quick count.
No quick count.
I had to call up some people.
No shenanigans. I'm not allowing shenanigans.
There's
No
going to be shenanigans, buddy. Don't you worry.
Well, now comes the fun part of the show where we're going to go through. And after Guru pointed out why it printed this way, we're going to go across, because if you look at the printout I gave you, the winner of the Westwood Regional will play the Morgantown Regional
Okay.
in the Super. So we're going to go across.
1 verse 16, 2 verse 15.
Yep.
Yep. So we're going to go ahead and start right there with the Westwood Regional. UCLA hosting this regional. UCLA's been the best team all year, and until somebody proves otherwise, I think UCLA is going to win that regional. I think that they're going to end up facing off against a very game Wake Forest. I think Wake Forest is going to upset and win the Morgantown Regional. So those are my two to match up there.
Same.
No freaking way. Same.
And I'm the one that doesn't follow college baseball as much. So that's surprising to me.
I was surprised. You talk about UCLA and their dominance. That's fine. They play in the Big Ten. We'll see when you play real competition. But West Virginia, I mean, nothing against the boys from Morgantown, but I was kind of actually surprised that they got a top 16 seed. And I'm with you. And if it's, I wouldn't even pick them second. I think it's the winner between Wake Forest and Kentucky, and that's who wins that regional. But I have Wake Forest circled just like you guys.
Next, we've got the Atlanta Regional and the Lawrence Regional. Georgia Tech is the host of the Atlanta Regional. Kansas is the host of the Lawrence Regional. This one's tougher for me, because I look at it and I see Oklahoma, which I know is always a tough out, but I also see that Georgia Tech team sitting as a 2 seed. I'm gonna give Georgia Tech the benefit of the doubt that they're going to protect their home court. But over in that Lawrence Regional, give me the Razorbacks. Razorbacks are coming out of the Lawrence Regional to face Georgia Tech. Kevin?
Yeah, same again. Same across the
And
board.
his laugh tells
We
me
haven't talked about this.
No, we have
talked
not.
about this. We keep our picks towards lips.
I don't even have mine circled.
Yes, I have the same Georgia Tech and Arkansas. And I'm going to go ahead and say this, and I could be completely wrong, but I think either Georgia or Georgia Tech is going to be the one that ends up winning the whole thing at the end of the day.
We can go into the Athens Regional and the Starkville Regional. We already know Guru's picking Georgia in that one since he has them. I'm definitely picking Georgia to win the Athens Regional. This is an interesting regional in Starkville because I look at it. I know that Louisiana team is scrappy because I watched them in the Sun Belt tournament. I've read good things on Cincinnati. I know State fans are going to be mad at me, but I just can't pick against them in the dude. I mean, in that regional, I think State gets out of it, faces Georgia. I want to pick against you because that would help you, and I apologize if this ends up being a jinx. But it's what I believe. I think State will protect the Starkville Regional. They'll go on to face it'll be the battle of the Bulldogs in the Super.
Well, this is our first one that we're going to differ on, I'm pretty sure. I'm picking LIU and Lipscomb in this one.
Shut up.
No, I don't know if y'all know. I'm pretty sure Lipscomb lost to Mississippi State like 25-2 or something like that earlier this year.
Wow.
I'm picking Mississippi State and then Georgia. I can tell you from there, Georgia's beating State because they got the number.
Yeah. I mean, we know your Athens region. Are you in agreement? Are we still all picking the same thing?
Yeah, we're 6 for 6. It's all Bulldogs.
Next, we've got the Auburn Regional and the Lincoln Regional, with Auburn, of course, hosting the Auburn Regional, Nebraska being the host of the Lincoln Regional. I think Auburn's going to take that regional. I mean, it was tempting to pick Milwaukee, but joke. But Auburn will win that regional. And I think that, again, I think this is be another one where the SEC squeaks through. I think Ole Miss is going to find a way, but it wouldn't shock me if Arizona State found a way. So I've got Ole Miss and Auburn. I got another SEC matchup in the Super.
Yeah, I think that Auburn gets out of this regional. They're hosting, and I'm a little concerned with NC State. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think NC State is sneaky.
They are sneaky.
But I'm gonna give Auburn. I think they got the pitching nod here, and then in the Lincoln Regional, I'm taking Ole Miss in this one. I think that, like I told y'all earlier, there's some shoulda, coulda, wouldas, but don't let the ribs get hot. That's what they say.
They've done it before.
Well, we at least have one different. I do agree with Kevin. Auburn in their pitching. That's the only reason I picked them. But I would not be shocked if Central Florida was able to come out of that one. But when we go up to Lincoln, I'm not taking the home team. I'm not going SEC. I'm going to go with the team Jack mentioned, and that's the Sun Devils of Arizona State. I think they come make the trek to Lincoln and pull off the upset, and then go to the Plains the next week to play Auburn in the Supers.
That tells me I was wise in almost picking him because yeah, I looked at that and I looked at the records and but I just believe Ole Miss will pull that one out. So, but next we've got Chapel Hill Regional and the College Station Regional, which North Carolina hosting, of course, Chapel Hill, Texas A&M the host there in the College Station Regional. This again. Looking at this is another tough one because you see some teams in that Chapel Hill one, but I think North Carolina will protect. This isn't the same Tennessee team from the last couple of years. I think they'll put up a good fight, but I think North Carolina gets out of their own regional. And I look at this College Station regional. I think Texas A&M will be able to hold off probably a tough challenge from a USC team. And that Texas State team, from a very, very tough Sun Belt conference, can't sleep on them, but I think Texas A&M will be too strong for them. So I've got North Carolina and the Aggies.
North Carolina might be the most slept-on team in the entire nation, sitting at number 5 here. I think they take care of business. Tennessee, like you said, not the same team they've been the last couple of years, and I just can't root for them either way. Texas A&M, same way. I think that they get out of their regional as the North Carolina Tar Heels versus the Texas Aggies.
If there was a cross-regional matchup that I wouldn't be surprised that neither one seed won, it would be this one, looking at the 1 through 3 on both sides. Not only Tennessee, but East Carolina's a program over the last 5 years that's been really strong. Then, like Jack said, Texas State and, of course, USC. Texas A&M known to choke, but they usually wait to the Supers to do that. So I'm going to go with what they said and go Aggies and Heels.
So far, the only one we've disagreed on is Ole Miss.
Oh, well,
that's it.
I got some doozies for you.
Next, we've got the Austin Regional and the Eugene Regional. We've got Texas as your Austin Regional host, Oregon as your Eugene host. Looking at this Texas Regional, I mean, UC Santa Barbara, they're traditionally a tough out. So, man, this is a tough one to pick. I'm going to go with the upset. I'm going going UC Santa Barbara in this one. This other regional, I think you've got two teams that have traditionally been a rival. I remember that Yale team last year. Weren't they in the Hattiesburg Regional, Kevin? Was it Yale that went there?
I think it was, yeah, smart kids.
It was one of the Ivy League schools. It might have been Princeton. I know it was the Ivy League team. So, they'll be scrappy, but
Will they?
Well, they will be for maybe a game. I'm not saying they'll win it and then they'll get blown out the next one. So you've got a couple of old school Pac-12 matchups here with Oregon State, Washington State. This is a tough one to pick, but I think Oregon State really wants to go up there and punch their big brother Oregon in the mouth. So give me the Beavers. I think they'll advance and face off against UC Santa Barbara. Kev?
I got UC Santa Barbara in this one. They're going to take the big budget Texas and put them down, Orange down. And then I've got Oregon. But just because I'm kind of like Guru, late at night when there's nothing on, you catch an Oregon baseball game. I kind of like what I see from them. I'm taking Oregon. And why the crap is Oregon State independent?
Because the
the
Pac-12 dissolved so badly that with everything that's gone on, they just for baseball they don't play in a conference, and I don't understand why they didn't go to the Mountain West with Washington State, to be honest. But
is it going to change when the new Pac-12 begins? Will that pick up baseball, or do we know yet?
We're getting a Pac-12 2.0.
We are.
I don't know what the hell's going to go on.
It's pretty much going to be the Mountain West 2.0 merged with the two remaining Pac-12 teams.
Which makes the question of why they're independent even more so dumbfounding. But I'm gonna split the difference with you guys, and I got Texas playing Oregon State.
There you go. So we found another one where we disagree, but agree on some. So next, we've got the Tuscaloosa Regional hosted by Alabama and the Tallahassee Regional hosted by Florida State. This is where things get interesting because you've got some power programs in each of these regionals because you've got Oklahoma State, who we know been a good program for years. You've got a team like this Coastal Carolina who just a few years ago made a run to the championship series, losing to who, Guru? Who beat Coastal?
It was just last year, LSU, but Coastal's also won a national championship too.
They have won it. So a very solid program for sure. I've been told from people, don't sleep on that Northern Illinois team, that's a scrappy team. I don't know. So if it's wrong, y'all can yell at other people who are saying that. I don't want to pick Alabama. So I'm picking Oklahoma State because I don't want to pick Alabama. Florida State, they're really, really one of those programs that it seems like one year they make a run, the next year they don't. I mean, but I think this will be their year. I think they'll hold on to the Tallahassee Original. So give me the Cowboys and the Seminoles, and we got a good old fashioned Wild West matchup in the Super.
Yeah, I'm taking Oklahoma State as the 2, and like you said, don't sleep on Northern Illinois because I'm taking them at the 3.
I like it. That's
very
bold.
nice. Yeah, I think Florida State, like Jack said, the team that year to year runs hot and cold. You never know what to expect in Tallahassee. I'm going to make it a 3-peat in Tuscaloosa. I knew none of us would pick Alabama. I'm going to go with South Carolina. No, I'm just kidding. Oklahoma State. And then I'm with that, I still think this is a really good Florida State team. I mean, look, they played in a conference with North Carolina and Georgia Tech, who are two of the top 5 teams. And, you know, at some point, Florida State's, they're just destined to finally break through and do it with all the pain and suffering they've had and get into as many College World Series as they've done, yet to come up short time and time again with all the great players that they had and with Coach Martin and all the wins that he accumulated over the years. Not saying that they're going to do it this year, but I do think they're going to get out of their own regional. And then if it holds true and Oklahoma State wins, then the Seminoles will get to host the Cowpokes the next week in the Supers.
Yep. All right, we're down to our last 2 regionals, the Gainesville Regional hosted by the Florida Gators and the one right down the road, the Hattiesburg Regional hosted by Southern Miss. Again, you look up and down, you've got a rivalry match up there in Gainesville and Florida and Miami. Southern Miss, no favors done to them. This is a very, very tough regional. Some could argue that Southern should have been an 8 seed, but been in line to host a Super. But again, you look at the mountain they would have to climb if that was their regional, isn't it? It still wouldn't be easy.
Mm-hmm.
No, because if you look at it, Jack, and the way they do it, and I learned this from the softball selection show, basically everybody's seated 1 through 64.
Yeah.
So if you go to the UCLA regional and you look at number 1 UCLA and then St. Mary's at number 4, that means that St. Mary's was the 64th team overall. So if you flip Florida and Hattiesburg, then you would have Southern Miss, Miami, Troy, Rider.
And they already had to deal with Miami last year.
And they played Troy during the regular season and in the conference tournament. So I mean, I think, you hope for an upset in Gainesville and then win your own regional and then get the chance to host a Super.
And I'm going to go with the upset in Gainesville because I think Miami was battle tested. They won the Hattiesburg Regional last year. Give me the Hurricanes to pull that upset in Gainesville. But what school has burned me more than any other school when I pick them?
The one in Gainesville.
Not the one in Gainesville. The one right down the road.
Oh,
Southern Miss guys, I want to pick you, and I think you can win your regional, but I also don't think I do you any favors by picking you. So I'm going to go with Jacksonville State in the Hattiesburg
Dang.
Regional.
Oh, man, Jack.
So I got Miami and Jacksonville State.
I had this whole thing because Jacksonville State won the Conference USA. How fitting would it be if Jacksonville State beat Southern Miss, Conference USA, Southern Miss won't get out?
Now you know how it feels, buddy.
Well,
How many times you done that to
Look,
me?
It's not our fault. That's why we don't talk about the picks, but also we go in a certain order. It's apologies, but it is what it is.
With that said, though, my upset's going to be Troy. I think they're going to
Holy
come out of the
crap.
Gainesville Regional. Yeah, I've got a huge upset there. I wanted to have one, and that's the one I saw. Florida should win this one. I'll be honest, they should. It's not going to surprise me if they do, but I'm taking Troy in the Sun Belt to win this one from the Sun Belt, and then in the Hattiesburg Regional, I'm just going to leave it at this.
I love it. And that's another reason why
What does it say?
it says Southern USM don't pee down your leg. Because last year it was on a silver platter for them to host that super regional.
Well, what happened the last time they hosted a super regional against the in-state rival?
Yeah,
at that?
Ole Miss went ahead and just the last time was against Tennessee. Ole Miss happened before they hosted the super against the Volunteers, but they lost that one after they won game one. There were multiple. I was at
they didn't have an Applebee's.
and there were multiple rain delays, and it was unfortunate because it felt like USM had all the momentum, and then the rain delays, and they just never found the bats again.
I've watched a lot of SEC baseball over the last month, and I hate Florida. I cannot stand O'Sullivan. I'm just going to leave it at that. He's a piece of crap. Okay, I'll leave it at that. But I wanted to pick Miami. I don't have the wherewithal to go Troy or, God forbid, Ryder. But
Rider all the way.
Miami wouldn't totally surprise me, but Florida's got some sticks in their lineup, and they've got a really, really solid pitching staff. I won't be surprised if Florida makes it to Omaha, to be honest. And then to flip over to Hattiesburg, even though their former head coach is coaching up the road in Stark Vegas, I'm going to take the Cavaliers, the Wahoos out of Virginia to come to Baseburg and get the W, and then go back over to Gainesville to play the Gators in a super regional, boys.
And look, we're rooting for Southern. That doesn't mean not pick it, but I mean, sometimes you got to look at what you look at.
What I tell you? What have I always said? You pick with what?
Your brain, not your heart.
There you go.
Prove us wrong, USM. Use if the players, if the coaches, especially you local players who know us, post this up on your bulletin board. It worked for Northeast Jones this year, so use this as motivation, and we'll be here to talk about you either going to Gainesville or hosting a super regional soon. So we'll see. And here's the real question: this should have been the wild card. Are we going to get any baseball in Hattiesburg or Starkville with all this weather this weekend? I mean, are we even going to? Are these regionals going to start on Monday at this point? I mean, what is your prediction, Kevin? How much baseball will actually be played in the Magnolia State this weekend?
They'll get a couple of games in, but we're going to get delayed.
Oh yeah, we've seen it. I mean, I've kept up with the junior college World Series in baseball, softball, in Division I and Division II, and I mean it's been everywhere from Oklahoma to South Carolina and beyond and below and above, but they're on a schedule, and I mean, from my understanding, for the most part, they need to have things wrapped up by Monday because the supers will start next Friday, run through the following Monday, because they alternate. Some of them, they go Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and so they got to give them time for travel and all that. And I would think, like at the latest, you might see like a noon or early afternoon championship game on a Tuesday. But I mean, they're going to do everything in their power, and that's even if a game doesn't start till 11 o'clock at night in Hattiesburg Saturday night. I mean, it's just they're going to do whatever it takes to get the games in by Sunday at the latest, and it'll get done.
Absolutely.
It might be some late night baseball watching,
Early morning
baseball watching if your favorite team is still in it in Stark Vegas or in Baseburg. But it should be another fun weekend.
Let's make this deal before we sign off. If any of our big three are still playing baseball next week, whether they're hosting a super regional or whether they're still alive, let's come back and we'll do a show next week and ride out as long as we have local teams still alive. If you guys agree to that, I'm perfectly okay with that, because that gives us something a little more to talk about that our local listeners should listen to. As much as Kevin loves Auburn, I don't know that our local base would care as much. But if Mississippi State, Ole Miss, or Southern are in a super, I say we come back next week before we take our hiatus and just follow these teams till they bow out. And if they're not back, if they don't, none of them advance, this will be our we'll go on hiatus for a few weeks following this show. What do you guys think to that?
If Southern Miss is still alive.
Southern Miss is still alive. I'm okay with that.
Is live, yeah.
And if they host a super, then we won't be doing it live from there because they probably won't let us. But anyway, this has been the Laurel Leader Call Sports Show. I'm Jack Fairchilds, and for Kevan Lindsey and Josh Guru Nichols, thank you guys so much. Maybe we'll see you next week.